In Microsoft PowerPoint, let's look at how you can break down text-heavy slides so that you don't have slides like this causing death by PowerPoint. There's a downloadable file on my OneDrive if you want to complete the exercises in this video. Just scan this QR code or follow the ridiculously long link. Let's start with the purpose of PowerPoint slides. If we consider this picture of a cheerleader an analogy, who is the speaker and who is the PowerPoint presentation? The speaker should always take center stage. The PowerPoint presentation is there to support them and what they're trying to say. Now, if the audience's focus is on the slides rather than the speaker, the slides are not doing their job. So why is having too much text on a slide a bad thing? What is it about this slide that will detract from the speaker? If you try to read what's on this slide while I'm talking, I can almost guarantee that you won't hear half of what I'm saying. You'll probably find your attention flip-flopping back and forth between the text on the slide and my voice, and therefore you won't quite take in either. Not to mention it's dead tiring trying to decide where to focus, on the slide, on the speaker, on the slide, on the speaker. So when you try to read more than about 6 words at a time, what happens is your conscious brain kicks in and your brain voice starts playing. And your brain voice competes with the presenter's voice. Jared Cooney-Horvath explains this much better than me in his book, Stop Talking, Start Influencing. I highly recommend it. And to give this presentation some credibility, let me throw in some neuroscience I got from Jared's book, namely the Broca-Wernicke bottleneck. Our ears can hear multiple voices or audio streams, but when our brain then processes all those sounds and voices, it can only let one audio stream through at once, blocking out the other, which means it's biologically impossible to listen to the presenter and your brain voice at the same time. Just think of when you're in a pub, lots of voices everywhere, and yet somehow you manage to block out all the others and only focus on what your friend is saying. If you're not one for reading, you could also watch David J.P. Phillips's TED Talk, How to Avoid Death by PowerPoint, which also has some good guidelines for PowerPoint slides. Now, both Jared Cooney-Horvath and David Phillips's message comes down to this. Put so little on your slide that your audience doesn't need to think to interpret what they're seeing. Because if there's too much on a slide, it will engage their brain and they'll stop listening to the speaker. Now, a rule of thumb I use is to limit a slide to one message or idea, broken down into a maximum of 6 items or bullet points with 6 words at most, but less is better. Nancy Duarte, a well-known presentation coach, uses the glance test. Can you get what's on the slide in less than 3 seconds? And please, despite what some people say, you do not need to put a limit on the number of slides in your presentation. Just limit the amount of information you present at once. One of the ways to prevent information overload on a slide is by giving the content plenty of white space. Because here, I can't see the wood for the trees, and it's better to split a text-heavy slide into multiple slides and have fewer items more spaced out. So let me show you a quick way to split slides. Slides have a default font size. If you put too much text on the slide, PowerPoint will automatically shrink it so it fits on the slide. Now, if this text has been shrunk, the auto fit menu icon appears to the bottom left of the text placeholder. And one of the options in this menu is to split the text between 2 slides. If you want, pause the video, give this a try in the exercise file. So on the 7 principles of GDPR slide, click on the auto fit options menu, select split between 2 slides, and then repeat with the split slides until the text on each is showing full size. Another option is to create a handout with the full information you want to give your audience. One way to do this is by using PowerPoint's notes pages. Go to the View tab and click Notes. This will open the Notes pane below your slides where you can add notes while working on your slide. I've copied the full text from the original slide into the notes and replaced it with short prompts on the slide. To view the notes in full, go to the View tab and click Notes page. Here you can format the notes, but you can't edit the slide. To print the notes pages, either on paper or as a PDF, go to File, Print, and change Full Page Slides to Notes Pages. You'll see a preview of what your handout is going to look like on the right. Of course, only give the handout after the presentation because you don't want your audience to be distracted reading it during the presentation. You can also use the notes while presenting. On the Slides tab, tick Use Presenter View, and then when you play the slideshow, the audience's screen will show the slide, and the presenter's screen will look like this. You can see the current slide, the next slide or item, and your slide notes, which appear at the bottom right. You can also use the presenter view to manage the presentation, moving back and forth between slides, so do have a practice with the buttons because it looks quite scary initially. So let's try this out in the exercise file on the 7 short principles of GDPR slide. Have a look at what it looks like when you print the notes pages and turn on presenter view if you're working on 2 screens. It won't work if you only have 1 screen. Now we've reduced the amount of information on the slide, so let's look at animating slides to control how much the audience sees at once. Because even 6 items or points of 6 words can still appear as an impenetrable wall of text that needs to be interpreted. Bad. This is where you can use animation to bring in items one by one. To apply animation to all your bullet points, select the placeholder by clicking its border, and then on the Animations tab, choose one of the green entrance animations. There are all sorts of animation options, but remember, the slides should support the speaker. If the animation is too whizzy, it could distract the audience from the speaker. Now, once you've applied the animation, you'll see the order of the animation numbered next to each bullet point. Then start your slideshow and see how the bullet points come in one by one. So let's try this in the exercise file on the 7 short principles of GDPR slide. Select the text placeholder by clicking the border, apply the fade animation, and then view the slide in slideshow, with presenter view preferably. Let's talk about contrast as a way to direct your audience's attention. If there are a lot of things on your slide, the item with the most contrast compared to the background gets the attention. So here, the bottom left square is darkest compared to the background, and notice how it sticks out. And on a dark background, the contrast is largest with the lightest square, which sticks out. When you have a list of bullet points, you can easily decrease the contrast of previous points to focus attention on the current. So here's my slide. I don't want to dim the last point, so I only select the first 6 points. On the Animations tab, select the dialog box launcher at the bottom right of the animation group to open the Effect Options dialog box. In here, click the After Animation drop-down and choose one of the available colors or select More Colors. Then pick a color, and I went for a unexciting gray, and click OK. Now you'll see your selected color, click OK to finish. Now, when you present your slideshow, items will come in one by one and fade to gray when you go to the next item. So let's try this on the 7 short principles of GDPR slide. Select your items 1 to 6, click the dialog box launcher on the Animations group, and make it so that after the animation, the bullet points dims to gray. And then view it in slideshow. Finally, to prevent your audience from thinking about where to look on your slide, you can signal where you want them to look, like so. Now this is a signal I prepared in advance using shapes and animation. but you can also signal on the fly. Put your presentation into slideshow view. Right-click on the slideshow for a context-dependent menu. Difficult word. Then choose pointer options and choose one of three: laser pointer, pen, or highlighter. This is an example where I used the pen option and ticked off each point as I was talking about it. So let's try this in the exercise file. Start the slideshow, try the different pointer options, and press escape to stop using the pointer. So if you press escape normally, it will stop the slideshow. If you have the pointer on, pressing escape once will stop the pointer. Pressing escape again will get you out of the slideshow. Now, before we finish, just a quick knowledge check. What's the greatest number of words or items you should limit yourself to on a slide? That's right, 6 points consisting of 6 words, and stick to one message. So there you have it, 5 ways to break down text-heavy slides by adding white space, creating a handout, animating your bullet points, removing contrast, and signaling. Share if you liked it.